I'm Kane, that's Copes, and the rush to the NBA postseason has begun. Copes, we are down to the final 10 games. We're going to talk about the Knicks. Are the Knicks back? Jason Concepcion is about to join us. But I've got a question for you, Copes.
Sure.
A lengthy all-star, superstar career that you had. What's it like as a player? Don't just nod your head.
I'm just saying.
What's it like as a player when you get into the end and you get old? What's it like getting old as a professional athlete, Copes?
I would know. I never got old as a professional athlete, but let me tell you, it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good at all because you're on the floor, you want to do things, and your mind's saying, yeah, but your body says, slow down, big fella.
All right, well, I was watching the Golden State Warriors this week, and I just haven't been able to figure this team out. They're awful on the road, they're awesome at home, and they have a little rivalry, they're denying it, but a rivalry building with the Grizzlies. Klay Thompson counting the 4 rings while they're getting smoked on the court.
That's
Do you like this or not like it?
So he should be putting it up. He's letting you know, I won 4 championships. That's hard to do. He's celebrating. He's saying, until you can match this, then don't give me that talk. Yeah, you might beat us today, but we are the champions, and we've been doing it for a long time.
They have been, but as I said at the start of the show, we've been wondering when they're going to kick into gear. A team that is just in the mix.
Don't count them out.
There's a team in the mix right now, the Knicks. They are pushing for the postseason. One of their young stars, RJ Barrett, was mic'd up against the Los Angeles Lakers. Let's check it out.
We back again. Come on now. Come on now. Let's get it, D. Come on.
Whoa!
Man.
I'll post him up.
Man.
I know my place.
Nice to meet
I know
you,
my
man.
place. My pleasure, brother.
Yes, sir. We'll be aggressive. Good shot, boy. I thought you were going to block me again. It's a good game, buddy. Man,
Woo! Copes, that's RJ Barrett dropping 30 against the Lakers, and it's no better time now than to bring in our guest, Jason Concepcion. People will know him from the X-Ray Vision podcast on Crooked Media, and honestly, he's doing so many bloody different jobs that I can't go through them all right now, but I'll give him the opportunity to do it on the back end. A Knicks diehard. Jason, thanks for some time.
Thanks for having me. Wonderful to be here.
So we're going with the hard-hitting questions first. There's no doubt about that. And the New York Knicks currently 42 and 31. Are they back? They flirted with being back a couple of seasons ago, but I know that Knicks fans are just starting to get that little bit of excitement about them.
Well, are they back? They are here. I think they need to have 2 consecutive good seasons in a row before officially they are back. They have done this, occasionally where they have like a kind of, I don't want to say fluky, but for lack of a better word, fluky good season out of nowhere. And then they kind of fall off, 2013 comes to mind. But I'm going to say that they've arrived and they're doing things right now that seem sustainable. They have a core of players that are pretty good. And they have some young players coming up that are quite promising and that are beginning to pay off that promise. Emmanuel quickly comes to mind, Grimes. And so you can see how this can continue. So I'm going to say, tentatively, Knicks are back.
Jace, what's your expectation? Come on, tell us now. Be real with it. Are they going to make the playoffs? If they do, how far are they going to go?
They are going to make the playoffs. And, I think they can make some noise. Like, I think we can let me knock on wood. I think we can beat Cleveland. I think we could beat Cleveland. And I think we can make some noise. Now, the caveat being, I do understand that the last time we were in the playoffs, it looked real bad. But that was, a Knicks team that was all Julius Randle all the time. If he wasn't scoring, assisting, rebounding, if he wasn't the hub of everything, if you could take him out of being the hub of everything, the Knicks were going to have anything, to go along with that. But now they have some legitimate weapons. Jalen Brunson has added a kind of a creativity and a headiness to the team that I think is really important. And he's playing as good as any guard in the NBA almost, certainly since at least before he was out for a little while with the injury. So I think they can make some noise. I think they can get to the second round of the playoffs, like legitimately.
Speaking of Julius Randle, Stephen A. Smith said, look, we were happy he scored 57 points, but because he doesn't like to pass, that could help. That could hurt the Knicks down the line. Do you see that happening?
Don't. Here's the thing: they're ISO against all odds. Somehow, they're a top 5 defense. I just looked it up. They're the 5th best offense in the league, and that's off ISO. I think they're the 2nd best ISO team in the league, behind I want to say Phoenix maybe. And Julius is an okay passer. I think we saw this, the season before last where they got in the playoffs. The last time he's not like a creative guy, but he'll hit the open guy. He'll hit the guy who's open. He's not the kind of passer that will get someone a shot, but he will get it to a person who can receive the ball. I think the fact that we've kind of managed consciously or subconsciously to move the team towards his strengths, which are just kind of create on the offensive end. Go one-on-one. With the other weapons there, it allows Julius to go one-on-one against people that he more often than not has a mismatch against. Would I like him to get less tunnel vision sometimes? Sure, of course. But that's also kind of not his game. So I like the fact that they've taken that responsibility off of him to find guys, to be the creative guy. Let Jalen Brunson do that. Let Grimes do that. Let IQ do that. That's fine. Let Julius just go out there, score, and rebound.
So you mentioned Jalen Brunson, and year on year we hear it. The Knicks are potentially going to get this free agent, but they never get them. But I'm wondering if you think they've stumbled onto something here, because Jalen Brunson's father, Rick, is on the coaching staff. Is this a potential strategy that the Knicks can move to in the future?
You mean just hiring the parents
yes.
of talented NBA players? Yeah, I think we should do it like, Donovan Mitchell's dad works for the Mets. Yeah. Maybe we should have got him over and put him in the front office somewhere. First of all, have they found something? Yes. This is the best point guard that the Knicks have had since Mark Jackson, Stephon Marbury.
Yeah.
It's like a long time. This is the best era of point guard play in NBA history. There are more good to very good to superstar level point guards in the NBA now than at any time in the past. And the Knicks have not had any good point guards for all of that time except for now. So yes, I think this is wonderful. Other than 3 weeks of Jeremy Lin, this is as good as it gets for a Knicks fan to have this kind of creative play on the ball. It's wonderful.
So I think we're seeing it, and it's coming through the screen here, the cautious optimism. And I think it makes sense because Spike Lee, I think, is the one that we all see. And we see him go through the waves of emotion watching the Knicks. And we saw in LA a few weeks ago, perhaps sitting next to the worst man you want to be sitting next to when things aren't going the Knicks' way. Steve Ballmer is going absolutely nuts. And Spike is thinking, yes, this is a familiar feeling that I'm going through right now. You obviously understand the emotions and ride the roller coaster like Spike.
I really do. I got to show you. Here's the picture I took of. Well, can you even see that? I was at the game and I saw Spike down there. Well, that's actually Jonathan Majors, Kang the Conqueror, also from the latest Creed movie, Creed 3. And I was like, oh, there's Spike next to Bomber and I think Jonathan Majors. Yeah, and it's funny because Spike. I've been so mad at Spike over different points of my life. When I was a kid, when I was a kid, and Spike, in my mind, watching the Knicks play the Pacers, it was Spike's fault. This is as a child. It was Spike's fault that Reggie got going. Yep. Every time that Reggie got going, I'm like, it's because Spike is trash talking. Every time Michael Jordan would kill us. Yeah. Which was every single time. Yep. I'd be like, I know it's because he's drawn with Spike, and you'd see it. But now it's like, I have such warm feelings for Spike. It's wonderful to have such a great ambassador for the Knicks, and the fact that his enthusiasm for the team is never dimmed, even though, man, we've been bad. We've been really bad over the last 20 years at times. So it's great. It's just wonderful that to have an ambassador the likes of Spike Lee.
Jason, speaking of Madison Square Garden, right? Why is this place so special? Yeah. Jordan comes to town, he drops 50. Reggie Miller drops 50. These are guys in my era. Every time a big name comes to the Madison Square Garden, they go off. Why?
You know, the one I was just thinking about the other day was Kevin Love's 30-30. Yeah. That's one people forget about that one. 30 points, 30 rebounds. Like, he just dominated us. You know, it is it's a great history there. The lighting, much like the lighting at Crypto.com Arena, it was that kind of staged lighting, the fact that there are so many notable people there, Spike Lee, et cetera. You know, and then, you know, it's New York City. It's a show. The fans are so engaged. Like, even when we're bad, the place is sold out.
Yep.
And all the way up to the blue seats, you know, it's very, very knowledgeable fans. So there is just an electricity, a real vibe there. You hear people say all the time, like, not just fans like me, that there's a different energy when the Knicks are good. And that's because the Knicks fans have a history with the game and a connection with their team that is really special. I mean, we saw it. Listen, we saw it last season when the Knicks got out to, you know, a decent start over their first 3 games. Like, they won their home. It was like the third game into the season. And what happened? That they went crazy outside the Garden. It looked like a riot, you know, with the whole bing bong and everything going viral. That was 3 games into the season. Knicks fans are just very, very excited. They love their team. Maybe they're a little too boisterous sometimes, but there's just an electricity because of the connection the fans have with the team.
Yeah, speaking of the Bing Bong video, unfortunately, some language we're not allowed to use on this show. But one of the better parts of that was the Kevin Durant, don't you regret not coming to the Knicks? Which brings me to the Brooklyn Nets. As a Knicks fan, how much have you enjoyed the demise of the very short-lived, exactly right, the Durant, the Harden, and by the way, Ben Simmons gets some news headlines over here in Australia. You might be surprised to know. How much have you enjoyed this Brooklyn Nets era over the last 2 years?
Be careful, because when they come to town, they can give you numbers, so be careful.
Listen, I try not to gloat too much because, again, we've been bad.
Yes,
we've been
right.
bad too. You know, we've been pretty bad over these last couple decades and a half, maybe. That said, I did enjoy it. You know, I smiled. It put a smile on my face at times, particularly with how, you know, they were just really loud about it over these last couple of years about how they were going to take over and all that kind of stuff. And then, you know, as a New Yorker, it's interesting because that team never drives the conversation. Even when, you know, it looked, you know, Harden and KD and Kyrie, and it looked like, here we go, as a team that really could win the title and win it in a walk, it was still the Knicks on the back cover of the newspapers because it's just a Knicks town. Right. So I did enjoy it. I enjoyed it. It was fun. It was fun to see that. But again, I try not to revel too much in other people's pain because, you know,
the Knicks have been bad for a long time. We know that.
Knicks have been so terrible for such a long time. Like, you know, but I did enjoy it. I did enjoy it. I enjoyed it responsibly.
Jason, we absolutely appreciate your time on the show. I mentioned the X-Ray Vision podcast at the start, and I said you got a bunch of stuff going on. What should we be looking out for?
The TV show I write on, Primo, will be debuting on May 19th on Amazon Freevee. Hopefully that's available in your area. If it is, take a look, take a watch of it. And you know, the House of the Dragon official podcast, you can find that wherever you get your podcasts. Those 2 things. And listen, if you want to watch some of my former basketball content, NBA Desktop on YouTube, all caps NBA, also on YouTube, check it out. Some fun NBA material.
Beautiful.
We appreciate it, man. Thanks again for your time. I know it's late over there, but this was a lot of fun.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Jace.
Copes, the Knicks fans, they have been through a lot, and Jason has certainly experienced that all the way. I know you're always picking on me for being a little guy, though, and we're going to talk about some of the great little guys in NBA history coming up, some Austin Reeves content for Lakers fans. But first, let's go to the break with some of the best plays from Joel Embiid this season.
Oh! Gumped by Embiid.
Sexton, blocked by Embiid! 7 blocks tonight!
Giannis has those kind of handles, and blocked by Embiid coming over to help out. Takes it, drives, step back, Jay.
Here's Embiid. Oh, look out! The throwdown hammer with one hand. Joel Embiid. Powell intercepts, blocked by Embiid.
And they're only one game on the loss side behind Boston. Oh, Embiid goes right around Jokic and then smashes the rim.
It's Durant exploding, going up, net and net flight by Embiid.
5 seconds to go.
There you go.
Embiid driving, spinning, fading, hitting! 1.1 to go!
11 points for Sickman. It's 59-52 at the buzzer. It's good! That's a three-pointer. So he'll always remember his first NBA three-pointer, won't he?
Muggsy Bogues from half court, and what about that court there at the Mecca in Milwaukee, Coach? That is a nice floor.
You see the socks up to the knees, the shorts up to the whatever.
Just be careful there. And you know that I get a little bit emotional with the little guys because you're always picking on me. So when I see little guys getting it done in the NBA, I do get...
Are you dreaming that you think you can get it done?
I refuse to rule it out. There is still a chance for me. But this brings me to the point, and we have a production meeting for this show every single week, and you demand that we have some old-time footage in this show. And this week, I want to ask you about some of your favourite little guys in NBA history. Who you got?
Nate Robinson.
Yes.
Allen Iverson. Spud Webb. Spud Webb was tiny, but he could get off the floor, man. He could dunk. He won a dunk contest against my man, Dominique Wilkins.
All right, let's start with Nate Robinson here, the 20th overall pick in the 2005 NBA draft. That's Andrew Bogut's draft for those wondering at home. He's only 5'9", 11 seasons in the league, a 3-time dunk contest winner, Copes, at 5'9".
And loves to rebound, plays extremely hard, wants to guard the biggest guy on the floor. He had that small man disease. He thought he was bigger than he was.
He's blocking Yao Ming.
Look at him. He was a special kid, man. He could play, flat out play. But
now,
this guy, oh man, Iverson, the scoring mecca. He was the machine. He gets it done night in and night out. Look at him. He crossed Jordan over. He crossed almost everyone over he played. Fantastic player.
This is one of the most famous moments in NBA history. 2001 NBA Finals, knocks down the step back on the now LA Clippers coach Ty Lue, and then just steps over him as well. 11-time All-Star and MVP. He's gone to the Hall of Fame. And he was actually also pretty old school because he wasn't a great three-point shooter. And despite his size, he did all his work inside the arc.
Fantastic player, like I said, played at Georgetown. But here's my man, Spud Tiny Webb.
5'6".
Look, they're probably giving him 2 inches. He's probably 5'4", but look at the leap, look at the jump. He won a dunk contest against my man Dominique Wilkins, but he could fly, he could score, and you're talking about pick and rolls. He'd split him, get to the basket, and dunk on you.
All right, we've done with the old school highlights, though, Copes. We've satisfied you for another week.
You too, because I got some small guys on tape, and now you feel at home.
There's something for everyone on Kane and Copes. That's the great thing about this show. But let's bring it back to the modern day with some of the big men. Now, we saw some highlights of Joel Embiid a little earlier. He's in the mix for MVP. Nikola Jokic, we understand, is there. What about Domantas Sabonis with the Sacramento Kings? This is a team that is looking to reach the NBA. Well, we're starting with Rudy Gobert here, actually. And by the way, he was traded to Minnesota in the offseason. And let me tell you what they gave up. Walker Kessler, who is dominating as a rookie. They gave up a 2023 unprotected pick, 2025 pick, 26, 27, 29.
No, Kane.
No.
You're
off Rudy Gobert.
Rudy Garbage? Gobert, sorry. Yeah, I'm off him. I mean, as big as he is, I think he needs to dominate a little bit more. He has nights where he plays well, but he's not consistent enough for me, and they're not going to go anywhere with him.
I agree. It's been a challenging season for the T-Wolves so far, and I got so excited about Sabonis. This was a man that was traded to the Kings last offseason. Tyrese Halliburton went to the Pacers. Who's winning that trade?
Sacramento by far. He's a triple-double waiting to happen. He gets it night in and night out, and Sacramento are going to make the playoffs this year. How long has it been? 10, 15, 20 years? A long time.
Haven't made the postseason since 2006. He was only 8 years old at that point in time, and he's only just entering his prime. What about DeAndre Ayton and the Phoenix Suns? We know there was drama last year, and we weren't sure if he was going to come back. It looked like there was some problems with Monty Williams. He signed a 4-year, $132 million extension. Have you liked what you've seen?
Well, this year they struggle. I mean, and I think a lot of that's because of Chris Paul. Chris Paul got him the ball a lot last year. This year he has to do a lot of his own. He's knocking his jump shot down. He's consistent, but I don't think they're going to go far. I think they need to make some changes, man.
We'll see. He's playing alongside Kevin Durant, Chris Paul, Devin Booker. I think he might be okay. He's in a good position. Let's talk about the Lakers. Now, in Australia, there's two things that sporting fans love to get behind. One, the superstars, like this man in his career that's jumped on the bandwagon, that's get behind the superstars. The other thing they like is the underdog story. And while LeBron James is on the shelf and Anthony Davis not quite getting it done, Austin Reeves, 35 points against the Orlando Magic, 18 free throw attempts. Before I get your opinion, let's hear what Austin Reeves had to say about MVP chance in the building for him.
I mean, it's special. You grow up. I mean, I grew up a Lakers fan, so you know, to do it, you know, for this organization, especially is surreal. You know, sometimes I gotta stop and, you know, really think about, you know, what I am doing. Obviously, I think all the odds were stacked against me from where I'm from. You know, I played baseball a lot, didn't really play basketball, only played 1 year AAU. But to be at this level and this organization and, you know, to ultimately, like you said, score the last 10 points is special. And, you know, all I'm really happy about is the win.
Undrafted Copes and then was a two-way contracted player last year. This is actually a pretty remarkable story for this Lakers team, and we keep on talking about it, but they are just barely hanging on in the play-in mix.
You know why he's playing so well? Because he's not thinking about it. He's just going out there playing basketball, and that's what he does well. You got a guy like LeBron on one side and AD on the other side. Most guys will get nervous. They want to get them the ball. But because he's such a good player, he's confident in himself, he's going out and playing fantastic basketball. And if I'm the Lakers, I'm signing him before somebody else picks him up.
Yeah, and he said he's been studying Trae Young and James Harden and getting to the free throw line, and those 18 free throw attempts were pretty damn impressive. We've got a massive weekend hoops preview coming up, but first, let's rewind the clock again with Grant Hill and a huge poster dunk from back in his prime.
You remember Grant Hill? Yeah, you that young?
Grant Hill. Oh, my! Bragging rights at the moment belong to Hill in the Heat's house, and the dynamite dunk right down the pipe.
And that is a slammer jammer.
We all know the burgers are better at Hungry Jack's, but today we're here to find out what is better on the basketball court, beating your arch rival by 1 point or unleashing a 40-plus point beatdown.
Kane, wait a minute. I got something to say first. Gibbo, thanks for getting here on time. You're looking good. You got your hair cut. Look, I see now you're ESPN, you're big time ESPN, huh?
Taking after you, mate. Better late than never. I'm here.
Beating your arch rivals by 1 is nothing better. Nothing better. Nah. Seeing their hearts break?
By 40.
You taking 40?
You want to choke the life out of them so they hate you every time they see you.
I love it.
Nah, I think you're up by 40. It's too easy. Imagine a heartbreaking game-winning shot on the buzzer, 1 or 2 points. It's close. They think they're going to win it, and then you snuff the life out of them right at the end.
Think of all the excuses. Down by 40, it just wasn't our night. We had a bad game. You lose by 1, you give everything. That crushes a team.
See, if you only win by 1, they think they're good enough to beat you. They think they're unlucky. I want them to know they had no chance.
That was the best they could do, and they still couldn't beat you.
What about when you guys played United?
Beat by 40. We got to beat by 40 every time.
There we go. You see the pause? You had to think about it, didn't you?
40.
That's right.
Do you even know, Copes, what it even feels like to even win by a point? That's too close, ain't it?
Yeah, man, we had superstars back in my day. We had Brackey, we had Gaze, we had Copeland. There's no 1 point. Man, we're up by 1 in the first. We're up by 40 in the first 10 minutes of the game.
You might be up 1 in the first 2 seconds of the game. It's gonna be a blowout, ain't it?
Every time.
Speaking of little fellas, Copes, Damon Lowry, there's a man who is never short off a word. He has always got something to say. Friday doubleheader coming up on ESPN, your home for hoops, and it starts with the Hornets and the Pelicans on Friday. Now, the Pelicans are the team I need to ask you about. Zion Williamson has not played since January 2nd. The Pelicans are 11-23 in that time. They're now 12th in the West. Is it done? Done and dusted?
I think the season for them is done, yeah, but you can't give up on a guy like Zion because of what he brings to the table. He's a superstar. You know, once he gets his body right, he can lead a team to a championship. So you got to make sure you get him right first.
Once that one's done, we've got the Thunder and the Clippers. They did play on Wednesday, and it was Josh Giddey and the Thunder that picked up the 101-100 win. We spoke about the Thunder a lot for obvious reasons. I can't believe this team is in the postseason mix.
Teams take this team lightly because they got so much young talent. They go out and play every night. So you can't take them lightly.
All right, Copes, I'll tell you what, that is a great point that you're trying to make, but I'm cutting you off. See you next week.
God, that was quick.